Hello, welcome to the Grow Your Wealthy Mindset podcast, where it is all about helping amazing physicians just like you create a wealthy life free from burnout and with the financial security to practice medicine on your own terms. I'm your host, Dr. Elisa Zhang. Hello, and welcome back to the Grow Your Wealthy Mindset podcast. There are many ways people relate to money, and understanding your personal tendencies can make a big difference in your financial well-being. I often stress the importance of financial literacy, knowing how money works, and making informed decisions about spending, saving, and investing. But beyond the numbers, our money personality, our emotions, and habits around money also shape our financial outcomes. I think most of us want the same thing: to have enough to cover our needs now and in the future, and to have enough money to spend on the things that we enjoy. Some of us focus more on the present, while others focus more on the future. In this week's episode of the Grow Your Wealthy Mindset podcast, I'll explore different money types, how they show up in our lives, and how understanding them can help us build a healthier relationship with money. Let's start with two extremes on the money spectrum: the compulsive saver and the compulsive spender. Most of us fall somewhere in between, but we tend to lean towards one side or the other. Knowing which side you lean on can help you make better decisions. If you share finances with a spouse or partner, it's especially helpful to understand both of your tendencies. Let's start with the compulsive saver. Savers find it easier to save than to spend. In many ways, this is a great trait. It helps build wealth and creates a sense of security. But when taken to the extreme, it can cause problems. A compulsive saver often has a scarcity mindset, a constant fear that there won't be enough. Saving money feels safe and comforting, while spending money feels risky or wasteful. Savers tend to be frugal, but can also fall into the trap of being cheap. I did an entire episode on this topic. Check out episode 63 that was released on August 9th of 2023 if you want to dive deeper into being frugal versus being cheap. Compulsive savers may be experts at shopping for bargains, but they may also spend a lot of time hunting for deals or coupons, even when the savings aren't worth the effort. They may also skip out on experiences that could bring them joy or fulfillment simply because they don't want to spend the money. Signs that you may be a compulsive saver include constantly feeling like you should be saving more without actually having a specific financial goal or knowing what the money you're saving is really for. You check your accounts frequently, and you feel anxious when the balance dips below a certain number. You are the friend that everyone asks for the best coupon code or discount site. You may even feel proud when others call you cheap or frugal. If any of this sounds familiar, remind yourself that money is a tool, not just a score to keep. Try planning your spending around your values instead of avoiding it altogether. It's okay to enjoy the money you've worked so hard to earn. Now let's move to the other side of the spectrum, the compulsive spender. We all have to spend money on essentials like food, housing, and transportation, but for some people, spending becomes emotional. It can be a way to relieve stress, boost mood, or reward themselves. Shopping can become addictive, and there are proposed diagnostic criteria for compulsive buying disorder, though it is not listed as a diagnosis in the DSM-5. A compulsive spender may rationalize purchases that they don't need, telling themselves it's a necessity or a great deal. Unfortunately, these habits can often lead to credit card debt, guilt, and tension in relationships. Signs of compulsive spending include hiding purchases from your partner or downplaying what something costs. Perhaps you're someone who feels a rush of excitement when shopping, which is then later followed by regret or even shame. Compulsive spenders can often end up struggling to pay off credit card balances each month because of their excessive spending. There's no shame in recognizing yourself here. Most of us have had times that we've used spending to fill an emotional need. The key is awareness. If you find yourself in this pattern, start tracking your spending and work intentionally on spending. Take the time to identify where your spending brings you joy beyond the immediate gratification of the purchase, and identify the kind of spending that gives you buyer's remorse. You can absolutely have what you want, but you may not be able to have everything you want all at once. And if you're partnered to a spender, remember that shaming or criticizing rarely works. Instead, focus on creating shared financial goals that both of you value. The next three types, the worrier, gambler, and dreamer, also fall along a spectrum, though maybe not quite as linear as savers and spenders. Let's start with the worrier. Worriers are constantly anxious about money. They're afraid of losing it, not having enough, or making the wrong decision when it comes to money. Many compulsive savers are also worriers. Their worry is what drives them to save excessively. But that worry never really goes away, no matter how much money they accumulate. Worrying can feel productive, but really it's an indulgent emotion. It gives the illusion of control without leading to action. Worriers may avoid investing because they fear losing money, but in doing so, their money ends up losing value due to inflation. Worriers often think that worrying is what keeps them safe. While it's good to be aware of possibilities and have a plan for the unexpected, worrying doesn't have to be part of that process. It's the awareness and planning that brings safety, not the anxiety. If this sounds like you, remind yourself that fear is normal. You don't have to eliminate it. You just have to move forward despite it. Worrying keeps you stuck. Action builds confidence. Take small steps at first, and that'll help you build momentum to take bigger steps. While worriers never want to take risks with money, gamblers will take big risks. They get a thrill when that risk pays off, but they may also have devastating losses. Those losses can lead gamblers to take money that's been set aside for other financial goals, like borrowing from retirement accounts, to pay for necessities like the mortgage. It can also lead gamblers into debt. Gamblers may fall for get-rich-quick schemes or pursue investments without taking the time to fully educate themselves on that investment. If you've ever invested in something you don't really understand or gotten hooked on day trading, you may have gambler tendencies. It's okay to take calculated risks with a small proportion of your portfolio, but keep most of the investments diversified in mainstream assets. The dreamer doesn't necessarily take large risks with money, but they may be indifferent about money when it comes to making decisions. Dreamers may have the belief that everything will just work out financially. They often prioritize passion or purpose over pay and may neglect practical financial management. Some dreamers do fine, especially if they have stable support. Some dreamers may end up with inconsistent income or being paid much less than their peers due to lack of negotiation and just taking whatever's offered. Some dreamers may get into financial trouble due to thoughtless spending, leading to carrying a balance on credit cards, or end up wasting money with multiple late fees due to not making payments on time. If you're a dreamer, make sure you know where your money comes from and where it's going. Don't let yourself fall into unnecessary debt or consumer debt. A little structure can prevent unnecessary stress down the road. If your spouse is a dreamer, you may be the one managing the finances. Just make sure that there's enough balance in managing the finances that it doesn't turn into resentment. The next type is the avoider, someone who avoids thinking about money altogether. Avoiders may say things like, "I'm just not good with numbers," or "My spouse handles all of that." They often avoid looking at their accounts or opening bills. For them, ignorance feels safer than awareness, but in reality, avoidance just makes the problem worse. Avoiders may spend freely, or may even save excessively, letting their money sit idle because they don't know what to do with it. I've seen this behavior in a lot of physicians. Because we're high earners, we think we should know how to manage money, yet personal finance is generally not taught as part of medical training. And as physicians, we're busy, and we may never have taken the time to learn about personal finances. Many physicians feel embarrassed about their lack of financial literacy, and this embarrassment can lead to avoidance, which only compounds the problem. If you're an avoider, I commend you for listening to this podcast. It means you're taking steps to face it. Avoidance pushes problems into the future, where they grow with interest. If your spouse is an avoider, that can be challenging Perhaps you can't ever get your spouse to discuss the household finances. Maybe they even accuse you of caring too much about money. You may feel like you're carrying the financial load alone, or that they don't care. If you want to connect with an avoider spouse, try starting with small, low-stress conversations. Maybe talking about shared goals rather than the bills. Show them how avoidance has real cost, and celebrate small steps when they do engage. Finally, we have the optimizer, which probably describes many of you who are listening to this podcast, and definitely includes myself. Optimizers love the numbers. We track our net worth, compare credit card points, and use spreadsheets to project our financial future. While this drive can lead to great results, it can also cause stress. We beat ourselves up over small mistakes, like missing a payment or using the wrong card for points, even though these things don't affect our long-term goals. Optimizers can also fall into the trap of over-optimizing, sacrificing time or joy for marginal financial gain. Consider the solo private practice physician who sends their family on vacation without them because they don't want to lose income while paying for staff and office rent. They're optimizing productivity, but missing out on life. True optimization means optimizing for what actually matters: your health, happiness, and relationships, not just the balance sheet. Remember, it's about balance. Optimize for your life, not just for your money. Create the life you actually want, not just a higher net worth. Set your financial goals and milestones, but don't fixate on beating them. Celebrate progress, not perfection. Once you've funded your goals and covered your needs, spend the rest guilt-free on what brings you joy. If you struggle to spend on yourself, give yourself a spending challenge. Set a dollar amount that you must spend on something you want, but don't need, by a certain date. If you don't spend it on something fun, make a rule that you have to donate it to a political candidate that you do not like. Have a friend or spouse hold you to it. That'll motivate you to use the money for something you truly enjoy. And most importantly, forgive yourself for small mistakes. Maybe you use the wrong credit card or somehow miss paying a bill. It's okay. What matters is that you're moving in the right direction overall. And if you're partnered with another optimizer, remind each other to be kind and flexible. Mistakes will happen. Appliances break. Unexpected expenses pop up. That's why we build financial cushions. And why we also need to practice gratitude for how far we've come. After hearing all these money types, which ones resonate with you? Are you a saver or a spender? Do you tend toward being a worrier, a gambler, or a dreamer? Are you a avoider or an optimizer? The truth is, none of these types are bad. Each has its strengths and weaknesses. What matters is balance. Knowing your natural tendencies helps you recognize the habits and emotions that drive your financial behavior. And once you're aware of them, you can start making intentional changes that better align with your values and goals. If you want to shift your money mindset and create financial habits that align with your goals, consider working with me. A money coach can help you change faster and reach your goals sooner. If that's of interest to you, schedule a Zoom call with me at www.growyourwealthymindset.com. We'll talk about where you are now, where you want to go, and how I can help you get there. Thank you so much for tuning in to the Grow Your Wealthy Mindset podcast. Remember, money is a tool. Use it intentionally to build a life that's not just financially secure, but also deeply fulfilling. If you enjoyed this episode, I would love it if you could share it with your friends and colleagues. And now for the disclaimer. I am not a certified financial planner, accountant, or attorney, and nothing I say should be construed as professional investment, tax, or legal advice. This show is primarily for your education and entertainment. I am a physician, but I'm probably not your physician. So if you need any medical advice, please contact your own physician. Thank you.